You see, in this last recording, I have now, therefore, a theory, if you like, a construct. In some sense, that could validate this presence of uncertainty in the temporal. That it is a blessing in that it does allow us a situation in which we can experience the consequence of our values. But in the temporal, where it all passes away into the distant past. Anyway, or if you like, God forgives it upon, repentance, if you want a Christian approach. That the uncertainty is necessary. In what sense is it necessary? Well, to come to love God, which is the security of heaven, not to simply obey Him. I can obey in fear, but I can follow in love, even when your back's turned. Do you see, love gives an integrity that obedience doesn't give. You know, the tyrant is obeyed until his back's turned. And two of the would-be next competing leaders take him out in the night. And the next tyrant rises to power. Obedience is not the security that heaven needs, but love. And love can only come where the values of heaven are your values. You are the security of heaven, not the head of the house. For you are born in His image and likeness and become as Him, having His values. In fact, the whole family ideally have the same values in that sense. What sort of values? Well, of harmony, peace, forgiveness, understanding, kindness, goodness, joy, peace. You know the list, don't you? Even the man in the street knows the list of what God's like, were He to exist. An acceptable God, anyway. And okay, there's a few details that are harder for the man in the street to grasp. Not to mention horrendous evil that he sees and cannot explain. And uncertainty itself, which seems such a burden in everything he does. Why on earth would a loving God allow such a situation? The answer is, well, the child doesn't know. Hopefully for a good reason. And I do mean hopefully, because if it's not for a good reason, it's catastrophic. And I can't go down that road. So I'm going to trust it's for a good reason. Okay. So what do I conclude from this protracted deliberation? In my case, protracted over a lifetime. But perhaps not just in my case. Perhaps in all our cases. That's what the lifetime in the transitory here, in this world, is always about. Realizing the importance of love. Which depends utterly on trust. I trust you to have the values that I have. I find on earth, of course, that this is most often not true, at least to some extent, and that extent may destroy the relationship. We get divorce and separation and so on, and that's all very unhappy, again for a good reason. For that's not the sort of thing we want in heaven. Everything turns on your ability to trust. Even, I might point out, I'll just point the thing out, that the word trust and faith, belief, are all much the same confusion. They seem to be of like material in a sense. But I choose to trust. I choose to have faith. I choose to evaluate it. From what? From my experience here in this world of the transitory. It all comes down to what I actually grasped at the very beginning. But it's what you choose to believe that's so important in consequence. What you believe steers what you attempt to create and what you do and the way you go. Choose you this day whom you will serve. And what I really mean is what you will trust in, who you will trust. May it be your God, the one that personifies your values, for that's the only one you can love. And may you trust too with all your heart that your God will bring you through to understanding Him better. And so your values adjust, that life eternal be yours. 'Tis your birthright as a child of God. And the Jesus story puts the right emphasis, I think, in that regard, to let you know you are born of Him. And if He is all-powerful and all-loving, or simply enough of both, then that's exactly where you will be, with Him, in heaven, life eternal. Bless you. Thank you.